Hello everyone, I'm going to explain a solar panel rainwatering system. Last year we were using watering cans to water the garden and it was just a lot. So this year we're like, okay, well, instead of using our tap water, which has chlorine, and chlorine is not necessarily good for the microbes in the soil, we were like, let's use rainwater to basically water the garden. The problem with rainwater is there's no pressure, so we came up with this system whereby we use a battery and a pump and also a solar panel to charge the battery to water our garden. So this is a 10-watt solar panel, pretty cheap on Amazon. This basically charges the battery. It's not a lot, it's meant for trickle charge, but depending on your usage it should suffice. We water our garden probably 3 times a week. Then this is the pump. We got the bigger pump. It's a 5.5 gallon per minute pump. We plan to connect this to our drip irrigation system, but for now we just manually water using the hose. This is a manual watering timer. It goes from 0 to 120 minutes. Once it goes to 0, then it's just going to stop the water from flowing out. And these are heat shrink connectors, and for this project you probably need maybe less than 10 or 20. All these are like 14 gauge wires just to connect the pump to the controller and to the battery. So this I'll explain later. This you don't necessarily need. It's a solar controller. It makes me know what the battery level is. And then the pump comes to this strainer, basically helps filter debris. You don't want debris to go into the pump because it could damage the pump. And these are just connectors, and you need Teflon tape. Teflon tape is just to go around the thread to basically make it watertight. Oh, by the way, I'm an engineer by trade, and I just love to solve problems. And most of all this, I'm not an electrical engineer, just so you know, but all of this I learned online, just researching and taking ideas from here and there, and just sandwiching everything together to just come up with a system. And this is the battery we're using. It's way bigger for this project, but we plan to expand the setup to basically power hydroponic setup during winter, so that's why we got this big of a battery. For this system you probably need like a 6 amp hour. We have a 100 amp hour, and personally I prefer lithium batteries because obviously you can deep cycle it, so it's pricier, but it's definitely more durable than regular 12 volt batteries. So the pump comes with the 1/2 inch thread, same here too. So I already have the piece here that basically converts the 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch, and there's an arrow here that shows the direction of the flow of water. So this is the inlet, this is the outlet. So you definitely want your strainer in the inlet to basically filter out debris from going into the pump and damaging the pump. So just connect this. So again, this is also 1/2 inch, so you need this piece here. So this is Yardworks connector, basically snap-on connector. I'm going to connect this now. So the point of this is to basically provide a garden hose thread, so your actual hose can connect to this, because you can't connect to this directly, so you need another extension. And this is just plastic, and also the pump calls for, they recommend using plastic connectors all through. So now the garden hose is gonna come into this place. Now let's work on the outlet. So this is the timer we talked about earlier. We'll tighten this up. So the water comes in here, and once we open this, then it's gonna come out here. Then this kind of like simulates what's connected to your house, the actual, I think that's the national pipe thread, I think that's what they call it. Then that basically, then you plug your hose, the end of the hose, into this place. That's why we don't need this on this side. So the wires that come with the pump is not very long. I had to get an extra connector, and here basically there's this, the butt connectors I was talking about. You also need the heat gun to basically melt it and just snaps it in place. The reason why I have this on the positive is to add a fuse, protect the pump. This is a 25 amp fuse, so that's why we have this here. So I'm just going to connect this together. So this is how the pump looks like from the rear. So this is the actual cable that comes to the pump, and this is the extra piece I added from here, and also the fuse. So now we're going to take everything over to the rain barrel to show the final assembly. This is where we house everything, and it has a lid to cover it just so water and rain doesn't fall on it. So yeah, so this is the battery, and they just gave us extra styrofoam for padding. This is the pump. There are holes here, so this is from our rain barrel going in, and this is from our garden hose going out. One for the pump, one for the battery, and I'm going to connect the positive side first. So now this is the negative side, so I'm going to connect them together. So now positive goes first, and I'm trying to make sure these two don't touch. So positive would go in here. So now it's saying 13.0, which shows here it's kind of like halfway. So the battery is around 50% full. So here's our 10 watt solar panel. So this is an extension I got. This is the original one from the solar panel. So I'm going to connect these two together. And done. So now it's time to, again, I have to make sure these two don't touch. Now it's time to connect it to the controller. Same process. So again, I'll do the positive first. So the bars are moving, it's charging. Again, it's a trickle charger. It's probably gonna be 0.02 amps. If I probably move it to the sun more, it's probably gonna increase. So now it's 0.3, 0.4. So it's just based on the intensity. The max is gonna be 0.5 because it's a 10 watt solar panel. We've got a mesh filter here. Captures most of the debris. So this goes in here. At the end, the pipe comes out from here and it feeds into the pump, which is basically there. This is currently at 0, so it's not going to be on. So I'm just going to set it to like 2 minutes. There you have it. And once it's pressurized, it stops. Once it detects there's low pressure, so I'm going to open it again. Then it's going to kick in now. See? Expanding. It's going to stop. So once it's started up again, it's a diaphragm pump. It keeps it pressurized. So now I'm done. So I'm just going to turn it off. I'm going to set it to 0. So now it's off. Then now I'm just going to drain. I'm just going to drain it. So now watch the pipe shrink. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you very much for watching.